Representing Scotland, Mckay, and Lorna Smith. Representing Australia, Melissa Young, Nadine Ferguson, Abigail Nutt, and Corinne Sabre. The refereeing team for the final. Nathan Shackleton, New Zealand, and overseeing the video, Louise Lombard from the Republic of South Africa. Good luck, ladies.
So then, time for our penultimate semi-final of the afternoon, and it is the veteran women's Epee team semi-final between Scotland and Australia. Both of these coming through with really good victories over higher seeded opponents. Australia defeating Canada 45-40 in their semi-final. They led the match from the end of the second leg after Abigail Nutt put in an 8-3 performance in the second leg, and then from there they just kept ahead with Canada retaking the lead in the fifth leg, and Nutt again pulling out a 10-2 victory for Australia to get them into a 30-24 lead that they just would then not surrender in those final three legs. Scotland came through 45-37 victors over England, and it was 36 apiece going into the ninth leg, and Georgina Usher on for Scotland outscored Ingrid Heskett of England 9-1 to take Scotland through to this gold medal match. So both teams having to really fight it out in the semi-finals to find their way here, and it will be fascinating to see how they both get on. Usher, of course, was the individual gold medalist from a few days ago. She actually knocked out Abigail Nutt in the semi-finals 10-6. But after that, the next highest Scottish fencer Usher was the individual champion. The next highest finisher after that, however, was Maggie Tate, 22nd. Lorna Smith, the reserve, 38th. And Karen Grant, who we now see on the piste, was 40th. Abigail Nutt, the highest finisher for Australia. We see her on the piste now, just taking the lead for Australia. Next highest in the team was Melissa Young in 17th. Nadine Ferguson in 26th, and then their reserve Corain Sopru, who actually did not fence, I believe, did not fence the individual. Sorry, came 40, Corain Sopru came 42nd in the individual. And Abigail Nutt just pressing forward, putting the pressure onto Karen Grant. And through, she takes the lead, 5-1 for Australia. She will hand over to Melissa Young, 17th place finish in the individual, taking on the individual champion, Georgina Usher, who comes on with a deficit, or a 4-hit deficit already, to try and make up. Usher drives directly to the arm, scores her first. And again her second. The two finishers, Nutt and Usher, starting strong for their teams. And this time stepping in too close. Melissa Young drawing Georgina Usher back, inducing the mistake. She's able to score her first, just to keep that lead to 3 for Australia. And this time, Usher just holding on the edge of distance, and as Young feels the pressure of the press, she looks to spring forwards, and Usher is there to score with the counter-attack. And as Young looks to score, Usher parries and scores over the top, drawing England within 1. Young really under pressure because she knows Usher can go direct. She knows Usher can score, and so she will feel the pressure to have to commit first. But every time that she's committed first, she's found herself counterattacked or parried. It's not obvious where her touches are going to come from, but she needs to, because Usher has made it clear that she intends to keep scoring. Double touch and 7 apiece. in close. Usher lands with the close quarters touch, putting England into the lead for the first time. And then with the flesh, a 2-hit lead now for England. 8-2 this run for Georgina Usher, the individual gold medalist. And Young now forced to press. And this will play into the game of Usher. And 10-8 will be the final score. Usher will hand over to Maggie Tate. 22nd in the individual. While Young hands over to Nadine Ferguson. '26th in the individual. A slender 2-hit lead for Scotland. In close, and Tate comes out on top. And Tate misses over the shoulder. Ferguson scores her first. Patient build-up, waiting for the mistake from the Scottish fencer. You see Ferguson just with these little skips into distance. She's just trying to draw Maggie Tate into an attack. Something that she can feed off of, something that she can do something with. And this time, she gets the attack, but Tate times it well. Re-establishes a 3-hit lead for Scotland. There's the little skips in. You wonder whether Ferguson might actually look to start pressing her own attack here. And maybe she does there. It can't quite tell whether she's looking for an attack or something aggressive on the blade. But either way, she kind of gets caught. And it means that Tate is able to score her third. And the lead now opened out to 4 for Scotland. Distance close here. It's a tricky decision moment here for Ferguson. 4 hits could feel like a lot. Could feel like she's under pressure, feeling like she has to go and get hits back. But it's not. She doesn't need to. She can take her time with them. And in the end, it may end up being that she's better off just settling now. There's nothing that needs to happen in this last minute. Okay, Ferguson gets one back. There's under a minute remaining, so there's no pressure on Ferguson to have to press now. Yeah, there's no risk of passivity cards. And you can see she's in a bit less aggressively with that first preparatory step. So she's just sort of a bit less active in her press. Maybe just looking to stay present, but she overcommits on the remises. Maggie Tate scores to her wrist, 15-10, and that will be considered a really good leg for Scotland because the lead has gone out from 2 to 5. Karen Grant now back on for her second against Melissa Young. And Young will now start to have to think about pressing. 5 hits is the lead, but she'll need to do it in a controlled way, because if she really starts to press aggressively, she's going to risk being picked off. So then, Karen Grant back on for Scotland. Melissa Young on for Australia. So as we expected, the press forced now from Melissa Young. However, the yellow card for... I have to check that. I have to see what that yellow card's for. I'm not really sure. If someone in the chat has got an idea, that would be really helpful. But there's a yellow card given for Melissa Young of Australia. Melissa Young taking the blade and through to score. You can see Karen Grant just holding back into her half of the piece. At the moment, she's just not finding a way through because Melissa Young is really strong on the blade, just clearing it out of the way. And this time, you can see a change in approach from Grant. She's letting Young take the blade and looking to step out of the way, hitting on the way out rather than trying to do something on the way in. And that's just, that little step out is just giving her the time that she needs to land over the top to the arm. Expect to see her keep this approach because she still has the lead, which means that at the very least, Young needs to press a little bit because we are still in the territory where Passivity Yellow could be given. And again, the same again. And again, same again. Maggie Young is collecting the blade, but because she's having to attack a target that's moving away, she's then losing the, if you like, the timing advantage that she's gaining. And all that the beat on the blade is really doing is serving as a trigger for Grant to just step back, get the counterattack out. Look to see how Young maybe draws the counterattack and whether she chooses to do something about it. This time she looks to go without the blade. Grant, though, equal to it, steps back with the counterattack. A succession of double touches. Scotland still lead by 2. Young now does not need to really force this. She can go if she wants to, but she doesn't need to force this. Maybe she may decide that 2 hits is enough. Or she may feel that actually she has and gets in as it gets in close. Young's blade is better positioned. She is able to score. Final 3 seconds. Young pressing. Goes. Time is called. A really good leg for Australia. 8 points to 4, and all of Karen Grant's touches scored on doubles. Young then will hand over to Abigail Nutt, Australia's individual bronze medalist. Nutt, you imagine, will be grateful for the work that her teammate did, bringing her closer. She only trails by 1 now in this, going into this 5th leg. Into the fifth now. Abigail Nutt on for Australia, individual bronze medalist, and she will be finishing this match off for Australia in a repeat of her individual semi-final against Georgina Usher. That will be in the 9th leg, but now in the 5th, she'll be looking to pick up where her teammate Melissa Young left off. Really good work by Young. And there, just towards the back line. And there, just towards the back line, Maggie Tate forced into a response and gives Abigail Nutt the opportunity she's looking for to score to the arm. We saw Nutt pressing in the first match when she built a 5-1 lead against Karen Grant. And expect to see that the same, possibly even as if she's able to take this a lead back for Australia, she may continue to press. And this time, you can see she's just probing over the wrist of Maggie Tate. And every time she does, she's looking for a response, looking for a response. In the end, she doesn't get a response and uses that as an invitation, attacks over the top. And indeed, even though she's now taken the lead, Abigail Nutt just continuing to press. You can see just a little beat on the blade, the little flick with the wrist. And this time, Maggie Tate drops short. And as she does, Abigail Nutt riposts over the top to hit. There's the flick onto the wrist. This time, a genuine flick as Tate steps forwards. Nutt on the press. In close. Referee has already said halt. The clock is still running. Clock is off. And this time, Tate looking to score over the top, but Nutt drives through underneath the arm. So far, Maggie Tate has not scored in this fifth. Abigail Nutt doing exactly what she needs to do for Australia. She lands to the top of the wrist. 5 hits now, the lead. Nutt misses over the shoulder, and it is a point for Maggie Tate. Desperately needed, you feel. 35 seconds remaining. Nutt will be looking for this final touch. It's been good to see her continuing to press. She knows she's trying to build a lead for her team, so the individual score in this match does not matter. She's looking to build points and score, and there's her. And there goes her 7th, which takes her to 25. 7-1 that leg for Abigail Nutt. She will hand over to Nadine Ferguson. Who will be up now against Georgina Usher, the individual gold medalist who will be finishing for Scotland. And as she did in the previous leg, she will look to undo the work that Abigail Nutt has done. She will look to retake this lead for Scotland and see if she can hand something back to Maggie Tate. So then, 3 minutes on the clock, sixth leg. 5 hits the lead, 4 hits the lead for Australia. And you will see this will be an active leg from Scotland's Georgina Ussher as she looks to build, first erase the deficit and then build a lead for Scotland. It will not be enough, you feel, for her. She will not want to just bring Scotland level. She will want to start opening a lead. We may even get quite close to the target score of 30. Ferguson will need to be active. She cannot let Ussher dominate this match. But 3 touches within the first 25 seconds. And this time you can see every time that it's a fake action from Ussher, she's going underneath the wrist, and she's going underneath the wrist to draw a parry down, and that is what is opening the target to the shoulder. So every time she goes under the guard of her opponent, that's a fake action. She's looking to use that to draw. When she's looking to commit genuinely, she's going over the guard. This time a double. And again, the point starts low from Ussher. It starts actually below the level of Nadine Ferguson's. But when she needs it high, she can raise it up high. And it will all, because of the height difference, Ussher's point will always end up higher. And there again, she starts low, goes up over the guard. Scotland into the lead. Only a minute and a half gone so far, and Georgina Ussher has scored 7 points to 1, and that 1 was a double touch. There's the feints low, the feints low, the feints low, and Ferguson worried about them. She looks to go down to take the blade, and immediately that point is up above her guard, and Ussher scores to the top of the arm again. Ferguson now, you wonder how she will look to play this. Will she look to score? Will she look to try and get something back? Or will she be happy? No, she looks to try and score. And again, it's the same setup, that fake underneath the wrist. And as soon as Ferguson bites and takes the blade, Georgina Ussher puts her point on top of the arm and scores to step away. 3 hits the lead. Ussher needs 1 to close out what would be a very strong leg for Scotland. And there, direct from Scotland. 5 hits was the deficit going in. Swinging around, 4 hits the lead now for Scotland. It is Maggie Tate back on against Melissa Young. Young had a terrific fourth leg matchup where she came 8-4 against Karen Grant, brought Australia within one. Abigail Nutt then was able to take that on and do a 6-0 run against Maggie Tate to take the lead. But once again, Melissa Young finds herself in the position of coming on with a deficit. So then, 4 touches the lead for Scotland. Maggie Tate on. She had a difficult last outing, 6-1 the score against her in that leg against Abigail Nutt. But her previous match, the first match she was on, she went 5-2 against Nadine Ferguson. She'll be looking to capture some of the energy, some of the fencing, the consistency that she managed to establish in that first match, put behind her that middle leg against Abigail Nutt. Young collects the blade and scores. And this time, as they get in, Young accelerates through and scores within 2 now, or Australia. And again, collecting the blade first. Maggie Tate is unable to respond. And that is what's giving Melissa Young the time that she needs to get in. And she has drawn Australia within 1. Only a minute gone in this leg. Plenty of time for Australia, if they can get level, to then start to rebuild that lead. And then this time, Young defeating the attack from Tate, riposting and scoring. Australia are level in the 7th. Young unable to land, and Tate scores. Scotland edge back out in front. Young gets the blade, accelerates. She misses the first, but it doesn't matter. Tate would like her point tested. Looks like it works fine.
Veterans next foil, teams from England and Scotland to the referees. No, not to the referees, to the call room, please.
31 apiece, just over a minute remaining. Young will want to see if she can build a lead, a double touch, because all eyes will turn towards the 9th leg, which will be a repeat of the individual semi-final. And you feel that Australia will want a lead going into that, even if it's only a small lead, even if it's only a hit or two. They will want to give Abigail Nutt a lead that she can defend against Georgina Russia, the individual champion. This time through again on the attack, and back out into the lead edges Australia. This time, as Young looks to attack, she's been collecting the blade and stepping in big, anticipating that Mckay Tate will step back. This time, Mckay Tate steps in, and even though Young collects the blade, all she can do is redirect it onto her own leg. 33 all. This time, Young may be doubting, misses with her attack. 34-33. Scotland back out into the lead by 1. Young, though, will look to keep going. She feels the urgency to score. Collects the blade, more certain this time. 34 apiece. Young collects the blade, in close, scores. 35-33. Sorry, 35-34. 9 touches to 4. That for Australia. A narrow lead they hold over Scotland. It is Nadine Ferguson on for Australia, Karen Grant on for Scotland. And for Ferguson, you feel like she will want to build a bit more of a lead here. So the penultimate leg here. One hit the difference, and it will all be about what can they hand over to their respective finishers. What will that lead be for whom going into the 9th? One touch. As it stands, if it stayed as it was with one touch for one touch lead for Australia, you feel that would favour Scotland. You feel that the individual champion Georgina Russia would back herself to turn that over against the individual bronze medalist Abigail Nutt. So for Australia, they will look to see if they can get a bit more of a lead here. But initially, no real press from Ferguson. And possibly looking here just to use the pressure of time. You know, if we get to this minute without a hit, with Australia being one touch in the lead, this would mean a P yellow for Scotland. And a P yellow indeed it is. Not sure if Scotland will be too worried about this. They've eaten up a minute of fencing time. No change on the score. And it's interesting, you know, even though it was Australia, it was Scotland that got the P yellow, it's actually Australia now that are doing, that are being more active. It's Ferguson who's now looking to be more set up. And in she goes. Karen Grant scores on the counter-attack. And I think maybe Ferguson realised that letting that go to the P yellow may not have been in Australia's interests, because it's just 1 minute less to score a touch. Australia will want a lead coming into that final leg. And with the match as it stands, 35 all, I don't see this going to 40. Ferguson, it looks like she's caught in two minds. She was pressing in that last exchange. And in she goes, and this is really good from Karen Grant. So this is exactly what Scotland needed. And look at the time on the clock, 56 seconds remaining. And what this means is that now that P yellow is irrelevant for this matchup, because there cannot be an P red, which means that if that Ferguson will have to score. Karen Grant will be very happy sitting back. At the moment, tactically, she has played this leg superbly. She absorbed the P yellow in the first minute, and that meant that there was a minute without a touch of any kind. That favours Scotland. And you can see, as long as she keeps scoring, Karen Grant is happy. There's clearly been a discussion in the Scottish bench. They sent Karen Grant, and Karen Grant went out with a very clear plan for what this 8th leg was about. Ferguson now will have to try and do something to get a point back, but only 5 seconds or so remaining on the clock. 3, 2, 1. Time is up. This has been a really strong, intelligent leg from Karen Grant. And you can see she's coming off with a big smile on her face because she came on with a really specific job to do. And the job was, do not let Australia build a lead. And you can see now, yes, Scotland will still have that P yellow card, but they are in the lead, which means now, if there were to be a minute without a touch, there would be no P red for Scotland. It would be a P yellow for Australia. Letting that first minute pass without a touch and absorbing the P yellow actually played into Scotland's hands, because it meant that Australia weren't able to build on that one-hit lead that they did have. And then Ferguson, realizing the error, looked to try and capitalize. She looked to try and make it back by going and scoring touches. And that's what allowed Karen Grant to score those 3 touches. And that's why we now find, rather than a narrow Australia lead, it is now a very narrow Scotland lead in this 9th leg. Enthralling setup, because Abigail Nutt needs to go and score, and she needs to go and score against the individual gold medalist who defeated her in the semi-finals of that individual event a few days ago. And you know with absolute certainty that Usher will not feel rushed into doing anything in this first minute. A minute without a touch absolutely favours Scotland. And you can expect, as we get into the last 10 seconds or so, I do not think Nutt will she does not want a P yellow card, and that means that she is forcing the issue. Georgina Usher, familiar touch over the arm to the shoulder, 2 hits the lead now. So comfortable defending a lead is Georgina Usher. Sitting back here. 1 minute 20 is the important moment to look for. This time, Nutt is through. A little fake, and she fakes high. Really important, she fakes high. Just creates doubt in Usher's mind, because the line that she likes to go to is not there. Back within 1. 40 seconds would be where we're looking for a P yellow, but you feel like that's not going to matter anymore. And this time, they are through, and Nutt levels for Australia. Indecision from Georgina Usher. And Nutt now dropping back. Could see this going to a priority minute. Usher needs to score, though, in the next 30 seconds, or she will incur a P red and hand the lead to Australia. In she goes! And Nutt scores over the top. 48 seconds remain. Australia into the lead, 39-38. They needed something special from Abigail Nutt. 3 touches to 1 in this leg. Plenty of time left. Just 1 hit, the difference. In they go, a double touch. 30 seconds remaining, 40-39, as you were. Urgence in the press now. Usher levels at 40. Scott Nutt would like a weapon tested. So 25 seconds remaining. Plenty of time for a touch if they want it, or we could be going into the priority minute. Nutt just holding on the edge of distance. She is not wanting to commit to anything. Usher doing exactly the same. Both of them clearly very happy to go into the priority minute. Very well. Priority minute it is. Who will have priority? Priority is with Georgina Usher, and you think that this will probably favour her because Nutt will have to press. However, in the back of both of their minds, that's exactly what Abigail Nutt needed to do at the start of this match, and she did it so effectively. Brought it back from a 2-hit deficit. Here we go then, into the final minute. And Usher over the top to score. As Nutt is looking to set up the press, Georgina Usher dives in immediately. 6 seconds gone on the clock. And she takes the victory for Scotland. An enthralling last leg. And it is Scotland who are the Commonwealth champions. In a truly tense last leg, Usher catches Nutt and scores in priority overtime to take the win. You wondered whether Abigail Nutt had done enough when she got Australia ahead in the last leg. But with 30 seconds left, Usher levelled it at 40, and then 6 seconds into the priority minute, saw the moment to attack to the wrist, landed the single light, and took the gold for Scotland. Usher's second gold of the championships. And we will just take a very short break, and then we will be back for our last final of the afternoon, which will be the veteran men's foil final. And that will be between England and Scotland. Join us again for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the last time today, please welcome the finalists to the podium, please. This is the veteran men's foil team final. Before we start, I would like everybody to listen very carefully to this note. Because Pikachu has a birthday today. So you're all going to join me in singing happy birthday to Tori. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, on with the business. Representing England, Mckay, Paul Weasley,
And we are back for our last final of the afternoon, day 11 of the 2022 Commonwealth Fencing Championships here at the University of East London Sports Dock. And I am joined again by Luke Deemer in the commentary box for this veteran men's foil team final. Luke, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
So we were talking about this match just before we came on, and we were looking at the lineup. We thought this could shape up to be a really good match. These are two stacked teams.
Absolutely. Anybody that's seen any of the veteran events across Great Britain, I've been lucky enough to do to go along and referee a few in Guildford, will recognise all of these characters. It is very much an all-star cast from British fencing veterans. Some great matchups we've got in this match. It'd be interesting to see who comes out on top.
And from this championships already, you know, the England team, really, if you look at the top 8 in the individual, it is this England team basically is picked from that top 8. Veazey, Ellison, Payne, Abidogan, 3 medal winners and 1 top 8 in that team. In the Scottish team, Mckay came 5th. Nick Mort, he was the 2018 champion, individual champion. He is in this team. Paul Stambridge, Scotland. This is going to be a really with Rory Gibson on the bench. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup, I think, between these two. And it's Paul Stambridge up first against Kola Abidogan, who leads out the England team, and then will also be closing out for England in the 9th.
Yeah, a lot of experience with these fencers as well. As you say, some good individual performances, but if we've learned anything from the team competitions across these championships, is that individual performances do not necessarily deliver team performances. They are very different skills. That being said, both teams have had a relatively strong ride into this final here today.
So then Abidogan of England on our right, up against Stambridge of Scotland on our left. And referee Thomas Ngoyan has gone for a little walk.
Just seeking a wait for those later matches, for when the blades are not controlled, getting that from DT. Fencers really having to kneel down there, which is kind of them for the weight tests. It appears the box is on Sabre, though. Left over from the previous match.
Probably Epee. It's the veteran women's Epee team.
That would make more sense.
Scotland coming through in that team match in the veteran team women's epee, and it'll be their foil team will be looking to repeat that here in the vet men's foil. As you said, the last matchup of the afternoon.
Of course, how could I forget that close, the priority minute in the final period of the veterans epee.
Abidogan already looking for the flamboyant finish underneath the arm.
He loves that preem, and then he can flick it underneath, as you say, either underneath the front arm or take it to front.
Halt called, and it's a yellow card for covering for Abidogan.
Yeah, you just see it as he takes the parry, his back arm comes in as well. It's something you see often, particularly amongst beginners, actually. Though, of course, Abidogan is far from a beginner. It's just a habit that we get into to kind of tense up when we parry. As he relaxes into this fight, you expect him to stop doing that so much. Once again, they're relying on that preem with his attack. That one just landing off target.
The attack still with Stanbridge. It's a driving counter-attack from Abidogan, but maybe just a touch out of range. And because he started from so far away, and it's Uendima, Assessor picks another bit of covering. And it is a red card for England, 1-0 for Scotland now. There's the attack, underneath the arm lands.
Yeah, not even a full lunge there, actually. It's with the back leg in which he swings through as he's running down the piece. But that blade work is just so fast. This is what he could do with a preem, with a flick. He can land these different lines.
And as they both look for the blade, the attack is with Stanbridge. We've seen this. Oh, there's the parry, there's the riposte. Onto the bib for Abidogan.
Not sure if that's a delayed riposte or it's a riposte, no, but regardless, it works out well for Abidogan.
And this time, Stranded looking for the counter-attack. Stanbridge holds his nerve and finishes.
Yeah, both sides coming out fast from the beginning.
And this time, as Abidogan looks for the counter-attack, it's anticipated by Stanbridge, who finishes calmly to chest.
Once again, that kind of preem flick coming out from Abidogan as he attacks. Certainly where he looks more comfortable, but he's keeping that arm back. That's the way he attacks, and so when it comes to attack on prep off the line, he's always going to be second.
And this time the counter-attack lands from Abidogan. He's been looking for it so far in this leg and finally lands it. 4-0. 4-all, sorry.
Close enough. Okay.
Only a little bit out with that score there. And there's the parry. Stanbridge scores the riposte. 5-4, and it's a good opener for Scotland. Confidence building from Paul Stanbridge. He will hand over to Scotland's finisher, Mckay, and Abidogan will hand over to England's Nick Payne. Both of these two seeded first and second after the pool round in the individuals. Nick made it through to the semi-finals before falling to his teammate Paul Veazey, whereas Mckay, seeded second, fell in the 8 to Alexander Ellison of England, who is currently on the bench.
Yeah, it just shows the depth that England have in their team, right? Where you can afford to have somebody that came in the top 8 of the individual veterans sitting on your bench if you need them. That being said, both of these fences actually keen referees. Nick Payne, of course, a 2-up FIE and previously Olympic referee. Mckay, more up and coming, recently done his level 3. So both able to fence to the rulebook, both know the ins and outs, where they can commit what offences to be looking out for as well. Be interesting to see how that affects their fencing.
An exchange of riposte in close, and then Nick Payne closes the distance. The attack was with Mckay, but the counter-attack from Payne is successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost reprise timing there from Nick. Just doesn't give Mckay a chance to recover after the parry. Goes straight in again.
2 quick touches from Nick Payne puts England back into the lead. And Mckay with a fast hand as Payne steps in, collects the blade and scores with the riposte.
Yeah, you can see Payne there, didn't even try and argue for a tackle fair. He knew where it had been caught.
It's a lovely attack from Mike Mckay. Starts low and just brings the blade up over to shoulder to finish. And this time just holding back, drawing the counter-attack. Mckay scores. And as you said, Luke, both of these fencers know each other so well. All of the fencers on these teams, they know each other so well. So we're not having to spend time working each other out. We're not having to spend time working out what the best actions are. They know their game and they know their opponent's games so well. Yes,
well, even just that action there where you saw Mike step back and take the blade, almost caught flat-footed, but he was able to, you know, we know Nick Payne likes to go underarm to the front. He could rely on that. And as we see those final counter-parry riposte work out for Mike Mckay in the end. These are absolutely known entities to one another.
A furious exchange of parries and ripostes there in close. Mike Mckay comes out on top. 10-6 the lead for Scotland. Mike Mckay hands on to Nick Mort.
Yeah, so these two coming onto the piece now are not just known from the veteran circuit. They are competing, you know, happily in normal opens as well across Great Britain. So they will fence each other on a relatively frequent basis.
So the individual, the individual silver medalist Paul Veazey on for England, Nick Mort on for Scotland. Nick finished in the last 32 before going out to England's Paul Abrahams. But he will be looking to guide this Scotland team to the gold. A 4-hit lead he's inherited from his teammates in this third leg.
Yeah, Mike will be happy with his performance in that last leg, just slowly stretching open the lead. It's still nothing insurmountable for these teams. But we see it grow again.
You can see there just on the edge of distance, that in and out play from Nick Mort, and then he picks his moment, accelerates in and scores.
I think veterans often unfairly are associated with being these powerhouses that have incredibly fast hands and don't move, but Nick absolutely showing his versatility in and out all the time.
And it's the same again on the edge of distance. Nick Mort just on the edge, waits for the moment he can accelerate in and score.
Absolutely. Veazey just does not know where he's going. Because Nick is in and out, he can't just slowly press. He's got to wait for him, and that's where the opening comes from for either that counter-attack or that attack on prep.
You can see that time Veazey just breaking open the distance. He wants no part of that in-out game that Mort is playing. He wants to set up that slow press that Luke talks about. And there you see, gets it, lines it up better. This time lands off target, but he'll be more happy that he's been able to set up a press.
Yeah, you can just see from where they are on the piece how successful that was. And now all of a sudden, Nick has to do something a little bit more random because it's on the back line. Distance just a little bit out on that flesh there. Arriving off target on the arm.
A continuous staccato press from Nick Mort. 13-6, 3 unanswered points, and Scotland looking good in this gold medal match.
You can see Nick is up for this as well. That shout just for that third point shows how much it means to him.
This time, though, launches early. Veazey skips away and lands with the attack of his own.
Yeah, just not quite the distance. That's the advantage of that slow press. It means you've got the distance to play with if you need to when they go for the counter.
Good press now from Mort. Under the arm off target.
VC still sticking with those counterattacks as well, despite having been hit on probably about 3 of those now. Still trying to hit and run away, in part because of Nick's footwork. He just cannot get away in time. He cannot find that blade.
And there, as Veazey steps in, Mort, quick with the blade, takes and scores 14-7. Veazey needs to land something here.
Nick Mort even shouting for off targets now and counterattacks. He is up for this fight against the silver medalist from the individual.
On the attack now, Nick Mort goes to shoulder, lands off target.
That acceleration there. Are we watching the veterans? Is this real? I'm pretty sure they're moving faster than our seniors, at least our cadets and juniors.
There's the counter-attack from Nick Mort, and it's a big touch for Scotland. 15-7. 5-1, that leg for Scotland. And Nick Mort will hand back over to Paul Stambridge. Nick Payne on for England. Work to do here for the English.
Again, not insurmountable. We've seen teams bring it back from further behind. Nonetheless, Scotland will be very happy with those opening legs, how they've gone out and pushed ahead on that lead. Now this matchup will be interesting. We have Nick Payne, who is coming on as their third placed fencer, against Paul Stambridge, who is the second, but these are probably slightly less known to one another. I've not seen this matchup before, so there may be a little bit of time where we have to figure out what tactics are going to work with each fencer.
Not started the clock yet, Ilgin Duclair. But there's the parry and the riposte from Nick Payne.
Ilgin, of course, a Sabre referee, so very good in terms of separating things like the middle.
Here we go then. One touch each. Payne collects the blade as Stambridge steps in and scores.
No, Nick Payne's attack there because Stambridge spins out the way.
Stambridge looking to build here. Finishes the attack. High tempo scoring in this leg. Payne with that bent arm attack just misses the target, and Stambridge scores with the counter attack.
Yeah, that'll be frustrating for Nick there to have set up everything well, draw the opening, get your blade through without a parry, and then to miss at the final moment. Nonetheless, great work from Stambridge there, able to capitalise with the counter-attack.
9 touches now, the lead. Holds the parry.
Yeah, Assessor Tommy there just putting up his hand for covering. So as Nick Payne goes in for those second and third and fourth and fifth remises, just back arm drops in a bit. That hit is annulled.
Delayed riposte from Nick Payne. He accelerates in, pauses, lets Stambridge go for the parry, and then is through with the riposte. And this time, again, Nick Payne in on the attack for the second time, and for the second time it does not come up. Stambridge able to score.
Yeah, that'd be frustrating again. Having set up the right timing for attack on prep for just to get no light at all. And that one again for the attack not to land, despite his setup. Frustrating for the English team. Gap builds to 10.
And and Nick Payne will feel, you're right, he will feel frustrated coming out of that. He did a lot well, did a lot right. A couple of touches that just didn't go his way, but now the lead has got opened out by 2 points. 10 touches the lead. Abidogun back on for England against Nick Mort of Scotland. And is anyone going to be able to start just eating into this deficit for England?
Yeah, I think if anyone can eat into this, though, it will be Kohler. This will be the battle of the footwork, I think. We've seen Nick Mort come out already with his dancing feet back and forth up and down the piste, being able to find the timings for his counters with it. We know Kohler can run down the piste at people. It's a scary sight if you are fencing him and finish with those prime attacks. Be very interesting to see who works. Nonetheless, I expect Kohler to come out chasing, Nick Mort to be more happy in defence, and we will see if the attacks went out or the defensive parries and counters went out.
And there's Abidogun on the attack, that running attack you described earlier, Luke.
Once again, in that prime position, choosing the line he finishes, that time a little bit low, but you can see what he's doing with it. It's almost like that broken time attack with your arm right back. It's so difficult to find the blade, and if you're searching, it opens up lines that he can then finish into.
And there, exactly as you said, the counter-attack comes from Nick Mort, and that prime flick finish from Abidogun comes into its own.
Yeah, he will be vulnerable, though, straight off the line if Nick does go for that, because he wants to set up that slow preparation. So as soon as the referee says fence, do watch what Nick does next, if you like. How will he stop Kohler from pressing down the piste, finishing in the line that he wants?
A couple of errant off-target lights on the left.
Always a plague to foil the random off-target light. It'd be interesting to see, do they change the weapon just for the trial of it? Let's hope it's not a full wire break. Nonetheless, as we've said many a time, whether it's a medical break, whether it's a long video replay, mental reset time.
It looks like it is going to be a full wire change for Nick Mort. Maybe too early in the match for it to really be considered a momentum break for either of them. No, Kohler with that first touch, but since then we've not really had anyone in enough of a flow to really be broken from it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Both fences will have gone into that fight knowing what they had to do. Kohler knows he has to chase this and bring this back so the others can start to push ahead in the next rounds. He is capable of doing it. He's got the speed to do it. It's how much Nick Mort can disrupt that flow. We've seen Nick Mort preferred to defend, preferred to either counter with the right timing, with his footwork. How is he going to break up Kohler's attack? And if he can push ahead here against Kohler, if Kohler cannot make up the hits, it becomes very hard for England to get back into this match.
Quick wire change then, and we're back underway. Just going to have a quick test. And we are ready to go. 11:20 then, the score. Abidogun pulled one back before that break for the wire. And there's the counter-attack. And as you said, Luke, we wanted to see how would Nick Mort respond off the line. And he looks to go on the attack immediately. And there's the attack from Abidogun.
Look at that speed. We said Nick Mort was fast. Turns out Abidogun going forwards is that little bit faster, just literally runs him off the piste.
Mort now with that in-out looking to set up his fast attack. There's the counter riposte. Does it land? It does land from Abidogun. 4 unanswered touches for the English fencer.
Absolutely. The fence is not completely past there, so hit still stands. Great call from referee Ilgin.
And the attack starts from Abidogun. 5 touches, the deficit halved in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that is the speed of, in fairness, both these fencers. Running preem attack. That's what we expected in this fight. How does Nick Mort respond?
Ooh, looked like a funny bone hit there.
In fairness, with the angle he's coming round, it's likely to go to front leg, to front arm, every now and again.
There's the press, under the arm again. Abidogun just finding the range on those preem flicks.
Nick even seems to keep his arm down there, and yet Abidogun still finds a way around it.
And this time they both pause. Abidogun starts first.
Yeah, it's one of those calls where...
Under the arm again!
I mean, we called it from the beginning, but Nick has got to think about what he's going to do as he's walking back to his own guard line now. How is he going to stop that running attack? He has to go off the line, surely. Brief appeal there to Assessor.
The attack direct from Abidogun. He knows that Nick Mort is going to try and stop the press. He knows that he's going to come off the line at him, and it invites the opportunity for the attack on preparation. (9-0) in this leg. We've not even had a minute of fencing time yet.
Yeah, that's the speed, as we said, of this attack, and it comes again.
Under the arm, and Nick Mort does not have an answer for this preem flick. And there's the counter-attack. Into the lead go England, the first time that they've led since maybe there was a period in that first matchup between Stanbridge and Abidogun.
Yeah, you feel like Kohler's settled into this match far better than Mort has. He was a bit rusty in that first one.
This time, though, Abidogun is late to start. Mort into the attack.
Just request video there. He thinks he started his attack first. Nick Mort, quite convincing off the line. See what the video says. Realistically, though, this is where Nick faces the greatest opportunity, is straight off this mark, because when he starts defending, he just doesn't have the time for that in-out footwork he was doing straight off the line before.
There we go. Nick Mort not looking to hang around. He is keen to prevent Kohler Abidogun from getting any more of these long running attacks.
And in fairness, it's been successful. How does Kohler now adapt when he hasn't got the opportunity to do exactly that kind of action every time? Off the line, he seems to have gone for counters which haven't been successful so far.
Gives ground, gives himself time to set up the counter-attack. Mort, feeling the pressure to push, overextends into the counter-attack. There's the attack again, though, from Nick Mort, and we are trading hits, 22 apiece. Mort, though, in fast, stops, stranded. Abidogun can take up a slow attack and finish.
It's a different fight now with Nick pushing forwards. It might reflect the score, it might just reflect how many times he got hit with that running attack. But massive switch in tempo. Let's see as this match goes up to 25.
Much better from Nick Mort. He invites the attack on preparation from Abidogun. Attacks over the top himself and scores. 23 apiece. And against the odds, Abidogun finds a line, finds a finish.
In fairness, if you wanted one referee to separate the middle, you'd want Ilgin here, Sabre primary. But of course, excellent for a referee. sticks with a decision, attack touche to the right.
14-3 the score to Abidogun in this leg. And this time in and stops. And Mort takes it up, level at 24.
It's one of those things, often the final action can be deceiving. It looks like a fast finish or a finish in an attack in prep, but actually it's about where the attack started.
Mort on the attack. It's intelligent from Mort. He knew the counter-attack was coming, slowed up just enough to draw it. Parried, he missed the initial riposte, but he's still in a good position. And he keeps Scotland just in front. But we said it needed a big leg from Abidogun, and we sure got one.
Absolutely. This match has opened right back up again. You can sense these next few bouts, these individual matchups, will be critical. Just 1 point the difference now. What a massive comeback there from Kola. And of course, it all happened in that first kind of stage of that fight where we had Kola repeatedly attacking, Nick more unsure of what to do. The moment Nick sorted out that attack off the line, prevented those long attacks, that's when we started to see more level pegging again. Be interesting to see when Kola does come back on as well, if his attack is now neutralised, if they've sussed it out, or whether the other fencer will have to go through another 10-point learning experience.
And his next opponent is on piece now. That is Mckay, who is Scotland's finisher. So we've seen a strong performance from the England finisher. Let's see if Scotland's ninth leg fencer can match that with a strong performance of his own. On against the individual silver medalist, Paul Veazey. So, one light for Veazey, but immediately pinged for covering with his mask. The touch is annulled and it's a yellow card for Veazey.
Yeah, it's proved costly in the past for the English team, having touches annulled or cards and hits for their opponents, mostly for covering. We saw it with Kola earlier, now we see it with Veazey again.
The attack misses as Mckay comes in, holding his arm back, withdrawn, anticipating the parry. Veazey steps in with the counter-attack. You can see Mckay working really hard with the blade on his attack, looking to just keep it out of the way of any potential parries. But that opens the door for the counter-attack from Veazey.
Yeah, I think early doors in this fight we've seen Mckay is going to press the attack. Veazey is looking for the counter-attacks.
But this time finds the blade and scores. 3 unanswered touches for Paul Veazey. Mckay gets one back, and there's that delayed attack, finally finding its way through.
Yeah, if you're going to try and counter, you need to get the right distance. Ideally, you want to rush them a little bit. Mckay has all the time in the world to make that riposte, make that attack earlier.
Lovely finish from Mckay. Angles onto the shoulder.
Yeah, lovely finishes from Mckay. The challenge, I would say, is if I was Veazey here, would I be relying on the counterattacks? They've proved just as costly as they've counted for points. There are more secure ways of doing it. This is the challenge between a team competition and the individual. You can afford fewer lights against you.
And as you say it, this time, oh, Veazey in with the counter-attack.
Timing kind of created because he misses that first riposte. Both fencers stop. And it's about who responds first. Mike thinks he's going to take over the attack, and Veazey just responds immediately with that almost instinctive counter that he does every time.
Now then, Nick Moore immediately back on against Nick Payne. And let's see how he responds. He had a difficult second leg against Kola Abidogan of England. 14-5 the score in that leg, but Nick Moore just kept Scotland ahead by 1 touch in that 5th leg.
Yeah, very different style though, Nick Payne to Kola. How does Nick... I realised how ambiguous it is to say Nick in this fight, the Battle of the Nicks. But how does Mort respond? He can't just go fast off the line like he was trying to do to neutralise Kola's attack. Nick Payne slightly more patient in his attacks, far more use of blade work. Unfortunately, less use of Preem for Mort as well. Much slower press.
It's a slower paced start. Payne. Oh, and Nick Moore pushed off the back line.
And awarded a touch. There we go. Score just corrected there. Nick Moore, the one to go off this back line. Therefore, Nick Payne takes the first nick point.
Mort's first riposte misses. Payne on the remise. There's that in-out rhythm again from Nick Moore as he just looks to set up.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's that tempo coming from the back foot, not always translated in the front foot, but that does mean that when he does attack, he's that little bit closer.
And Nick Payne misses his first riposte. Mort through on the remise to score, brings Scotland within 3. See that stuttering rhythm there from Nick Payne as he accelerates, draws the parry, gets the response he wants, but finishes off target.
I think he's lucky to finish at all, to be honest.
And Nick Moore, you know he will not stop until the referee says halt, and he misses the first riposte, but he's through to score. So his second touch.
It's always a challenging one, that actually, because actually Nick shouts for his first hit. So that's what causes Nick Payne to spin around. And actually, that's when Nick Moore goes again. So Payne will feel somewhat aggrieved by that.
Yellow card for Nick Payne for covering with the mask as he drops into the remise. Both exchange misses, no offences, no touch.
I think just parry touche there for core of core, because you are allowed that right of reply action. Nick Mort, the one passing there though, so his touch wouldn't have standed anyway.
You can see Payne just looking for that under the arm finish. He's starting high and then looking to bring low, but Nick Mort is there waiting with the parry. And this time, Payne looks to go up over the top. Nick Mort counter-attacks, scoring his third.
Mort there with a stampy celebration, making the use of the springy raised piece we have here.
And this time, in close, and more opts for Preem for the riposte, but he lands on the guard of Nick Payne, who scores with the remise.
Yeah, Nick Payne that little bit lower because he's still in the lunge, that bit harder to reply with a riposte. So referee Ewan Deemer there going to video just to check a few things there. Firstly, whose point it is. Secondly, if there are any offences like turning, for example, when Nick Mort finishes, and therefore whether we can firstly annul the touch and whether there are cards to come out as well. Nice to see the veterans sharing a little laugh with the mess of that action as well.
So Nick Mort's first is no, and it is a point for Nick Payne. His fourth, he is one away. But, and he lands with the remise, but referee Nguyen is out covering from Nick Payne, a red card.
He seemed to cycle through all the covering there. Firstly, we had covering with arm, and then we had a bit of covering with head, just for good measure, to emphasize to our assessors.
Thomas Nguyen doing the work. The attack, though, misses from Nick Payne. The counter-attack from Nick Mort lands.
Nick Payne trying to do a Kola Abadogan there with the preem under the arm.
Into the middle as Mort looks to accelerate. Nick Payne seizes his moment. One light.
That English lead maintained. They're slightly dented in that battle. Nick Mort has done his job. We're into those final two fights.
Paul Stambridge then back on for Scotland. Paul Veazey on for England. We've gone from the Battle of the Nicks to the Battle of the Pauls. And Paul Stambridge really has had two very strong opening legs. 5-4 he led out against Kola Abadogan in the first, really got Scotland moving, then came back in for the fourth and extended that lead with a 5-3 against Nick Payne. Paul Veazey, only difficult first leg against Nick Moore, only scored one in that match. Then he came on, however, against Mike Mckay and brought England into the lead with that 6-2 leg. Question, I guess, will be is Paul Veazey going to be able to get that press working? And a flurry of attacks, flurry of remises from Veazey, unable to land. Stambridge maintains his composure and scores.
Yeah, interesting approach there. After being parried, tries a good 2 or 3 remises while still being blocked in the same line. Interesting approach from Veazey, but actually he's attacking more as well.
Lovely finish from Veazey under the arm.
Yeah, we commented that he was actually quite a counter-attacking fencer, as we see in that point there. But previously, in this fight, quite happy to press and attack. Maybe that's something he's worked out specially for this pool.
Here's the press now from Veazey. Oh, and Stambridge looks to set up the running attack. Veazey catches him and accelerates out of the way.
So frustrating when you run onto a blade like that and you can't quite reach.
Stambridge collects the blade. As they stepped in close, he thought that he had the moment, but he just wasn't able to find the target. Veazey threw on the remise. This time, though, Stambridge alive to it, expecting the remise from Veazey.
Veazey there overruling his team, not calling to video. You can actually see how he spins into that counter-attack, so he's never going to have right of way, regardless of the blade contact or parry. So wise decision there, stick with his call.
A yellow card for covering for Veazey as they get in close. You can see his back arm just swinging in front. And again, Stambridge collects the blade, but Veazey so fast in, so immediate on that remise that he does not have time to place the blade.
Yeah, if I was Stambridge in this position, I'd be looking for fast riposte. I think at the moment he did as he's just done there. He wants to take the parry and then set up his own marching attack. But Veazey wants to remise in, And actually, he's committing so much to the attack, he doesn't have much choice.
There's the attack from Veezy under the arm. 40-35. Only 3 touches in that leg for Paul Stanbridge, and he will hand over to Mike Mckay for the last leg. Veezy, 5 touches to 3 in that leg. He will hand over to Kola Abidogun, and it was Kola who really got this England team moving. They were way down, 10 points down, going into the 5th, and it was Abidogun with that 14-5 leg in the 5th that just brought England back into this match and meant that they were then able to accelerate away, and here they find themselves with a 5-touch lead in the 9th.
Yeah, now this is a matchup that we have seen many a time before at the veteran competitions, both very well known to each other. There's some initial blade difficulties there for Kola Abidogun. We know, given the number of cards that have been given out for covering, for ducking of the head and covering, for turning in this match, that those cards are not something you want to be giving away for something as simple as equipment. But we are all good to go in this final fight.
And the question will be, we saw it in the 5th leg. Will Mike Mckay look to try and nullify this attack of Kola Abidogun? Because we saw once it gets into its rhythm, once he's finding his distance, once he's finding the range on it, it can really be quite the thing to stop.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see Kola's defence as well. It's something we've not seen so much in this match. But immediately, Mike Mckay testing it out. Kola only has, quite a simple counter-attack, very little body evasion there. He's far more comfortable in the attack.
And Abidogun misses his first riposte. Mckay on the scoreboard first. Straight through from Mike Mckay. Abidogun looks shocked, sends the referee to video. He would like another look.
Yeah, Kola has this interesting, it's almost very much eyes open, step forwards, then opens up into that lunge. It's actually quite a slow way of attacking, but it does give him time to respond to his opponent.
Mike Mckay looks like he maybe took a whack on the front arm, just wants a second just to...
Yeah, another injury from that Kola Abidogun special Preem attack. But fortunately for Mike, it's not on target, so he will take that any day of the week.
And it's a lovely parry riposte from Mike Mckay. Abidogun in, looks for the short finish. Mckay draws it out, parries and scores.
This really is a battle of the minds there, particularly in the middle.
And it looks like covering is called for Mckay. The referee's just looking at the video as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would annul the touch if that person has right of way. If you have right of way and they get carded, then you can give the hit and the card. So referee Uwandima there, happy that... Yeah, referee Uwandima there, happy that it was riposte from the left previously, but immediately Kola Abidogun out of the blocks with that slightly more ponderous but immediate step lunge.
And this time, Mckay, he knows that Preem wind-up is coming, hits it early to score in preparation. And there's the attack from Mckay, but it just misses. Abidogun gives one back.
Very risky for Kola there. There's no body evasion at all. He's relying on Kola missing.
And this time Mckay skips in aggressively. Abidogun seizes his moment.
in fairness, Mike Mckay is dictating where this fight is happening. He's the one pressing the attack.
And with through on the remise.
Kohler less happy at close quarters as well. Maybe Mike has sussed that out. He's quite happy to remise and close the distance.
Oh, they both miss.
Kohler goes for the flick. This one doesn't work. He's far more used to that preem attack before.
There's the attack from Mike Mckay, and as you said, Abidogun favouring the counter-attack.
I don't think he can move out of the way fast enough for Mike Mckay's attack here. But he needs to do something with the blade, like that.
Takes the parry to go to his 44th. He now only needs one. Mike Mckay has scored 6 so far in this leg, but he has no margin of error now. This time, Abidogun takes the blade, scores with the riposte, and takes England to the title. He started it off, Kohler Abidogun, in the 5th with a 14-5 run, and he closes it out for England with that riposte, 45-41. England, the veteran men's team, Commonwealth champions.
Yeah, Mike Mckay will be happy with the work that he did there. You know, he did actually close the gap. It's hard to see that when you lose the final on such small margins, but he fenced well. He controlled that final fight. He was able to draw the counters from Kohler, but just not successful enough. Kohler able to force out the fight. All that experience coming into play. His attacks working well, his counters working well, and England the overall winners.
That then was our last final of the afternoon. We have the medal presentations coming up for you shortly, which you can watch here on the Fencing Vision stream. But that is the end of our commentary, so thank you very much for watching, and thank you once again, Luke.
Thank you for having me.
Please can all medalists make their way to the red piece end of the finals piece. That's all medalists to the red piece end of the finals piece. We will be beginning with the Cadet men's Epee team medals first.
one India, one bronze. Oh, I see there isn't there's only one bronze. Flag needs to go this side because the other is not safe.
Yeah, but we need it this side, so it's next to the other one.
Oh, right, sorry, I think that on this side.
Is that the right way round?
Please welcome to the podium the medalists for the Cadet Women's Sabre Team Championship. The medals will be presented by Helen Smith, President of the Oceania Fencing Federation and member of the Directoire Technique for the Commonwealth Fencing Championships 2022. In bronze medal position, representing India, Kashish Deepak Bharat, Japalan Yami Rexon, Abhigati Lashram, Gauri Mangal Singh Solanki. In the silver medal position, representing England, Bethany Briddick, Lexi Craig, Melissa Gale, and Faison Cecile. And in the gold medal position, representing Australia, Gaia Hodge, Veronica Vasilieva, and Yilin Zhao. Please now stand if you are able and face the flags for the national anthem. For the national anthem of Australia. Please welcome to the podium medalists for the Cadet Women's Royal Team Championships. In bronze medal position, representing Canada, Claire Ann, Lara Richard, Nora Segera, and In the other bronze medal position, representing Malaysia, Joel Chow, Soraya Rizal, and Lauren Mckay. In the silver medal position, representing Scotland, Anna Fielding, and Emma Wu, Sophie Schofield, and Zoe Wagstaff. And in the gold medal position, and the Cadet Women's Foil Team Champions 2022, representing England, Mark Conchi, Megan Elliott, Isabella Johnson, and Sophie Zhang. Please now all stand if you are able and face the flags for the national anthem of England.
ladies are just on the Saturday. Pulling up tax.
Please welcome to the podium the medalists for the Veteran Women's Epee Team Championships. The medals will be presented by Lorraine Rose, member of the organising committee for the Commonwealth Fencing Championships 2022. In the bronze medal position, representing England, Sarah Budden, Ingrid Escat, Nicola Hall and Catherine Reed. In the other bronze medal position, representing Canada, Vera Bella Wilson, Lisa Huzel, Karen Ansu, and Brian Sloan Sinha. In the silver medal position, representing Australia, Nadine Ferguson, Abigail Nutt, Maureen Sabre, and Melissa Young. And in the gold medal position in the Veteran Women's Epee Team Champions 2022, representing Scotland, Karen Grant, Laura Smith, Maggie Tate, and Georgina Usher. Please now stand if you are able and place the flags for the national anthem of Scotland.
Literally just had to be like, I'm not winning this, right?
Please welcome to the podium the medalists for the Veteran Men's Foil Team Championships. The medals will be presented by Sharon Eva, co-head of volunteering for the Commonwealth Fencing Championships 2022. In the bronze medal position, representing Australia, David Shacks, Michael Prince, Richard Purdy, and Andre Tishenko. In the silver medal position, representing Scotland, Rory Gibson, Michael Mckay, Nicholas Mort, and Paul Stambridge. Gold medal position and the Veteran Men's Foil Team Champions 2022, representing England, Kola Abidogun, Alexander Ellison, Mckay, and Paul Deasy. Please now stand if you are able and face the flags for the national anthem of England. please welcome to the podium the competitors for the Veteran Women's Epee Team Challenge. The certificates will be presented by Mckay, President of the Commonwealth Fencing Federation. In fourth place, representing left of SA, Natalie Coots, Renuka Ramroop, and Nanette Spencer. In third place, representing Schwartz, Mary Black, Katie Brill, and Sandra Schwartz. In second place, representing Quaketeers, Carol Bond, Isabel Ellis, and Kylie Weatherall. And in first place, representing England B, Mariette Mason, Moya McNamara, Margaret Mckay, and Ellen Thulis.
There's a minor boo-boo on that team by there. It's the wrong Natalie.
I didn't make them.
By there. Can we print her off a label?
Can you come up and talk? We can do it tomorrow if you leave me a note.
Yeah, I'll tell her. Please welcome to the podium the competitors in the Veteran Men's Foil Team Challenge competition. Certificates will be presented by Mckay, President of the Commonwealth Fencing Federation. In third place, representing Team Enderian Foil, Nigel Betterton, Simon Curling, Mark Robertson, and David Victory. In second place, presenting Northern Ireland, Etienne DeBerg, Duncan Salter, and David White. And in first place, representing Adrian's team, Richard Barnes-Webb, Adrian Collins, Nick Verhosey, and Michael